Obsession is now in theaters. This is the directorial debut, a feature-length debut at least, from Curry Barker. This stars Michael Johnston, Inde Navarrette, I believe is how you pronounce it, Cooper Tomlinson, and Megan Lawless. This is a brand new horror movie that came out this weekend and is quite good. I will say right off the bat, I'm not a horror guy, really. I'm trying to expand my horizons as I watch more movies, but I've never been a big fan of the horror movies. Quite frankly, I just don't enjoy getting scared, really, and such. And I was a scared little boy, and now I'm a scared adult most of the time. But this is quite enjoyable. So if you haven't seen Obsession, first off, I recommend just go seeing this before I even talk about this, because I think it's one of those movies where when you know nothing, it's going to play a lot better. So basically, Michael Johnston's character, whose nickname is Bear, is kind of this good-looking but shy kid coming out of college, high school, college mainly, and he has a crush on his best friend, who is played by Inde Navarrette fantastically. And it seems as though, on the surface, it's very like manic pixie dream girl, like, oh, this kid Bear is relatively normal. He's a little bit on the shy side. He doesn't know how to talk to his crush that's also like his best friend. And that's like, on the surface, is a fairly relatable standard that has played in a lot of movies and has played out in many people's lives, I'm sure. And he comes across this this trinket, we'll call it, the One Wish Willow, which is a little tree branch basically that you break and you make a wish, and maybe the wish comes true. And we're going to get into spoilers here, because there's kind of tough to talk about this movie without spoilers, I'd say. So, he breaks the willow. He wishes that she would fall in love with him, and she does, and it turns badly in a hurry, we'll say. My favorite part of this movie is Inde Navarrette's performance. She is incredible at this. Every single year, it seems like, we've been able to come across kind of new, either the final girl in horror movies or the villain of horror movies. The robot movie with Jack Quaid, whose name escapes me. She was in something 2 years ago, and she was great in it. Sydney Sweeney's a classic scream queen that, while her movies haven't hit, she is in those movies. And now Inde Navarrette, I feel like, has the potential to be kind of a star in this genre. Curry Barker, who is like 22 years old or something ridiculous, 25, maybe 23, is younger than me, which really puts things in perspective, I suppose. Maybe I need to figure out my life. Curry Barker shoots Inde Navarrette in a way that is really unique, in my opinion. This movie was not made for a lot of money, but throughout the movie, her character is going through kind of different phases where, more or less, her body or she is trapped in her body when this wish takes place. It's almost like there's like an evil spirit that is like taken over her body, and that spirit is the thing that has fallen in love with the Bear character. And she transitions very well from like, trapped in my own body to, I am an evil demon witch thing that is in love with you and obsessed with you and can never let you go. And a couple ways that Barker shoots her is in complete darkness, basically, with a large shadow that casts over her entire face, where you kind of can't really see her facial details, but you can clearly, like, her features are very like well known at this point in the movie. And then when she's in her more like lovey-dovey phases that I think are really good, her eyes like twinkle like spectacularly. It's something that I kind of hadn't seen before, where there is literally reflections in her eyes that kind of make them pop like tenfold almost. It's really well done. It's really good stuff. The premise with this whole One Wish Willow is not explained really at all, outside of like one very funny scene with a call center, basically the help desk equivalent of the One Wish Willow. And I don't think it needs to be, because it Barker and this script clearly have confidence that like the audience gets it. Like, we very much are in a normal world, more or less, and there's this one thing that's just clearly established, and you don't really need to talk about it or touch on it. And We also never get any backstory really on any of the characters in this movie, which there's basically 4 characters, and we don't really learn anything about them. And I think that's purposeful because this is a 90-minute movie. If this movie was any longer, you lose me. You're done. This is a classic 90-minute horror movie that doesn't need to go really any farther than what it does. This movie understands and has enough trust in the audience, and there's clearly enough going on the surface that you can see the backstory. You basically get it. Bear is this typical guy who's a little more on the introverted side. He works out. I wouldn't say he's a typical incel, but he clearly struggles to communicate with women, and especially his crush. And when he does, it all goes spectacularly wrong. And then it gets into, you can see the subtext of like, oh well, once a guy gets a girl, he kind of wants her to just to be his girl and nothing else. And then you have to deal with the women of agency discussion, and you certainly can do that, and it's quite easy to see that kind of through line through the plot. But also you could just go in and be like, oh my god, yeah, this monkey's paw of this One Wish Willow has completely backfired on him, and this guy is in some trouble now because of this demon spirit witch lady thing that's taken over his girlfriend's body, more or less. There's some great gore in this movie. You can really tell on the shoestring budget, so there's a lot of vomit and blood, and that's all well done enough. There's one kill scene in particular that really made me laugh because I said it in my Letterboxd review, but it is very clearly just like a mannequin's head, filled with blood and goo and whatever on the inside, and it's just like taped to like a 2x4, like a wooden plank. It's just replaced in the cut, and you cut back to the death, and it's just a head on like a plank or some type of like stick figure contraption that clearly is not a person, and that just made me laugh a lot. It's played out very funnily in the movie. Funnily, is that a word? In the movie, and the subtext of this movie being like costing less than $1 million, I think at least, and them having to deal with budgetary restrictions is really well done. I mean, the story is very well told. The cinematography is quite well done as well. This is a really, really solid movie and really solid feature length debut from Curry Barker, who's now taking over the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, I believe, is his next movie, which is crazy. To be like this 23-year-old kid, make a couple short movies, act in a couple short movies, make this movie that is going to be a pretty decently sized box office draw on almost no budget. And then it's like, all right, here's one of the 4 or 5 most iconic horror franchises of all time. See ya, good luck, have fun with it. I look forward to seeing what he can do with it. But yeah, that's Obsession. I don't have too much to say about it. Again, I think it's a very good like popcorn thriller, popcorn horror movie that if you wanted to delve into the specifics of it or the subtext of it, you are more than welcome to. But I think it's all very well done and confidently made by basically a kid. So yeah, go see Obsession. There's a lot of good movies in theaters right now, so I'm going to try to see as many as I can. And then if I want to talk about them, I'll talk about them. Yeah, go see Obsession. All right, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye.